Hello and welcome to this course on learning TensorFlow 2.0. This video gives a quick overview about this course. Before we move forward, let me introduce myself. My name is Mohan Kumar Silpersetti. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Trendwise Analytics. I've been in the industry for more than 25 years. I'm a graduate from IIT Kharagpur and I spent a large part of my career with SAP Labs. When I left SAP Labs in 2006, I was the vice president. Subsequently, I joined IBM, spent about 5 years there, more doing services, providing services in the area of big data and analytics. And currently, I also do consulting. I'm pretty hands-on. I'm an AI consultant and I conduct trainings. I also run Bangalore Artificial Intelligence Meetup Group, which has about 3,000 members. All right, with that, let's go ahead and see what's there in this course. Let me take you through a little bit of a quick overview. First of all, congratulations that you have chosen this TensorFlow course. TensorFlow is really the industry standard for deep learning development, and this course actually provides you a quick way to get into the thick of things. This course in fact benefits both those who are new to TensorFlow as well as those who have already worked with TensorFlow 1.x. So there is something in it for everyone. Now, why TensorFlow 2.0? Why this course? I think by taking up this course, you will be among the early learners and adopters of TensorFlow 2.0. As of date, TensorFlow is still in its alpha release, but by the time it is mainstream, you would be already having a good hang of it. This course not only provides theoretical concepts, but it is highly hands-on oriented, and there are a lot of demos to help you understand the new features of TensorFlow 2.0. as well as some of the concepts which are like the backbone of TensorFlow and which are there in TensorFlow 1.x as well. And there is readily available sample code which can be reused immediately as templates in some of your projects. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what is there in this course, section by section. It starts off with the first section named Evolution of TensorFlow, in which I actually take you through a quick introduction of artificial intelligence and how machine learning and deep learning and neural networks form the underlying features or what is the underlying technique for the overall high-level concept of artificial intelligence. We also introduce or talk about TensorFlow 1.x. So this is where people who are new to TensorFlow can actually understand how TensorFlow works. There is a way of writing code in TensorFlow. So in this section, I introduce you to the earlier version of TensorFlow before we move into section 2, which talks about what's new in TensorFlow 2.0. In section 2, I take you through the new features of TensorFlow 2.0. And here again, there are a lot of demos to show you the new functionality. And there is also a comparison between how we used to do things in TensorFlow 1.x and how it has changed in 2.0. For example, the eager execution, the Hello World program, which we have shown in section 1, I will show you again in section 2 to see how the eager execution works. And similarly, some of the other stuffs like, for example, there is no placeholder concept in TensorFlow 2.0. So how do things work? There is no session, and variables need not be initialized. So all these new features and functionalities are explained in brief in section 2. And in section 3, we continue with some of the concepts of artificial intelligence and deep learning, starting from neural networks. So I explain what neural networks is. In section 3, I talk about a perceptron, how you train a perceptron, how you implement a perceptron in TensorFlow. Here again, we initially start with TensorFlow 1.x and then move into TensorFlow 2.0 just to give you a flavor of what are the advantages of using 2.0 over 1.x. And then we move to section 4. In section 3, we talk about neural networks, but in section 4, we talk about a special type of neural networks known as convolutional neural networks, or CNN for short. These are one of the most powerful neural networks and primarily used for image recognition. So I explain how CNN works, the CNN architecture, and we also continue with the example of the MNIST case study, which we started in section 3. and then how CNN is used for performing handwriting recognition. And then subsequently, I show you how to use TensorFlow 2.0 to perform binary classification images and then multi-class classification images. And there are a lot of examples, readily usable examples of code and demo. And I take you through step by step, first using inbuilt dataset like MNest, and then how you actually can import data from outside, like the Cipher database, and then perform image classification, which can then become your templates for performing or using in any of your subsequent projects. We also talk about transfer learning, how you can take an existing trained CNN model and retrain it for your own new set of images. Then in section 5, we move on to another type of neural networks called recurrent neural networks, or RNN for short, and its variations like LSTM and GRU. Now RNNs, while they are powerful, they are not very easy to train. So in this, I show you demos of how to actually use the Colab environment. And in one of the examples, I have also used the Colab TPU, not just GPU, but TPU to train one of the neural networks. And I have shown how to then reuse that trained model to run an inference on text classification. So this way you do not have to every time train your model and spend hours to train your model. And this readily available model can be reused by you in some of your other projects. And then finally in section 6, I give a quick summary and some concluding remarks, along with some additional references for you to continue the learning process. There are a few very interesting and useful blogs, and of course, the TensorFlow homepage itself, and then a couple of interesting videos which will help you in continuing with the learning process. Now, what are the prerequisites to do this course, to take up this course? First of all, you need to be reasonably well versed with Python programming. In case you're new to Python programming, it may be a good idea to take up one of our Python programming courses that are readily available before you take up this course. You also need to have some basic understanding of machine learning and deep learning, because some of the concepts are assumed to be known to you, like classification and regression. Those are not explained here. So if you're new to machine learning especially, you might want to again take up one of our courses before you get started here. In addition to that, of course, in order to perform all the hands-on demos, you need an environment. It would be better to have both TensorFlow 1.x as well as 2.0 installed, either on your local machine, or you can also, of course, access the Google Colab. And I recommend that while doing this course, you run the demos parallelly along with watching the videos. I think that is the best way to learn. So you need to set up this environment before you get started. There is a video on setting up this environment included in this course, so you might want to watch that before you get started with the rest of the course. And if your local machine can be a Windows or a Mac or Ubuntu with 8 GB RAM, Windows is preferred, but you can also use Mac or Ubuntu. And the installation details for each of these are slightly different, and they are also provided in the video that I mentioned earlier. So with that, once again, I welcome you to this course. So let's get started.